Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. I'm Pastor John Woodin, and this is a ministry of Hollywood Faith Christian Center in beautiful Hollywood, Florida. We welcome you this morning. Well, we're going to start in Jeremiah 29, one of my favorite verses. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord. I've come to prosper you and not to harm you. And sometimes I think we need to be reminded of that because bad things happen to good people. And we sometimes look at it and say, Lord, what happened? And he said, it's part of the plan. Part of the plan. I'm working on the plan. Don't worry about it. It's going to come to pass. Don't worry about it. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor my ways your ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. And so shall my word that goes forth from my mouth, it shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish what I please, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. Wow, we may not know what that is. We may not understand what God is up to, but he says, I never miss my mark. I never miss. I always hit what I'm exactly aiming at. You just don't know what I'm aiming at, and you don't have to. Mark chapter 10, we talk about Lazarus. Now, there's supposition here that Lazarus may be the rich young ruler. And out of Mark 10, you can see that in some cases, it says that Jesus loved him. Now, this is the rich young ruler. And he goes away very sad because he has great riches. And Jesus tells him that you must be able to give up all these riches. And he walks away sad because he was a man of means. Well, let's fast forward a little bit into John chapter 11. And the sisters, Mary and Martha, come to Jesus and said, the one that you love. Now here's the connection. The one that you love is sick. And Jesus, we of course know, goes to the house late. Lazarus is already dead. In fact, he's 4 days dead. But what happens? What happens? He gets raised from the dead, and Jesus says, unbind him and loose him. Well, you can talk about the grave clothes, or you can figure out that he gets delivered of his problem, his connection to wealth. And we know that he then goes into ministry because in John 12, it says that the Pharisees wanted to kill Lazarus as well, because he gave evidence for Jesus' ministry. Now, here's something you may not have known. Lazarus went to Cyprus, the island of Cyprus, and he gets ordained as a bishop by the Apostle Paul. He gets ordained as a bishop in the church. And in the 9th century, they find a tomb underneath the church, and it says this, Lazarus, 4 days dead, friend of Christ. So really, even though Lazarus got delivered and Lazarus gets healed, the real purpose of all of this is so that Lazarus becomes the bishop of Cyprus. He becomes what God intended him to be, even though from the very beginning he was tied up with his wealth. Then he gets delivered from that tie. He comes and becomes a bishop, and 30 years later, he finally does pass away. But see, God's plan, even though Lazarus tried to mess it up by walking away, God's plan would be fulfilled. And we know, Paul writes, that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. For whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son. Wow. See, I get excited about that because no matter what we try to do, if we try to avoid, if we try to intervene and try to come up with our own solutions, God says, my promise is faithful, and I am watching over my word to make sure that it comes to pass. God bless you. We'll see you again next time.